What's up, everybody? We are at the Buck Knives booth here at SHOT Show 24 with CJ Buck himself, and we're going to talk about some new cool stuff. All right, CJ, tell me about this first knife on the table.
Okay, this one is the 402 Akanua.
Akanua.
The Akanua. So this knife was actually designed by my grandfather.
Okay, so that's Al, correct?
So Al Buck. So my uncle had designed a 401 Kalinga, and it was a little more extravagant, a little more sweeping, a little more, flamboyant, which was my uncle's taste. So this is a little straighter. This one's a little straighter. So it's burlap micarta with red spacers. It's the 402 blade, and it's the S35VN. It is awesome steel.
That is. And that's quite the leather sheath,
and
too.
this sheath, this is a retro black sheath. This was when this knife was introduced back in the late 70s and early 80s. We did the riveted sheath together. So this is a retro of the original sheath. So this is MSRP 560.
Okay. Now for a moment.
Yep.
So when I looked at this, I saw that deep, sweepy blade, and it reminded me a lot of the more modern hunting knives that are like, we're going to show you, you can get a nice long skin against the thing, you can control the tip well, it's going to be great. And I'm like, this is from the 70s. Or, like, man, you were ahead of the time over at Buck.
And then the next one that I want to talk about, so this is the Buckmaster 2.0, the combat diver.
All right.
So this was my project back in 1984 as a 23-year-old special projects manager, and an opportunity came in from the local Navy SEALs to do a dive knife. So growing up in San Diego, the SEAL team, we used to see them training. So we'd be out fishing, we'd be drifting the beach for sand bass, and we could see them training in the ice cold water and be really glad that we weren't them because we're all bundled up in our boat. So anyway, so growing up in San Diego, the SEALs came to a company up in Oceanside, which then came to us to design a dive knife. So the commander of that group, 40 years later, wanted a redo.
I want it back, he says.
So the original Buckmaster had a lot of good points, but it also had a lot of hang-ups when it came to being a good dive knife. And so he wanted a chance to take another shot at doing the world's most perfect dive knife. So when you think about who better to design a combat diving knife than a combat diver, and so what happens is this knife, it's a spear tip. It'll be double-edged for the military, not for consumer. The sheath is here. It comes with an emergency anchor wing.
Anchor wing? What's an anchor wing?
This is an anchor wing.
Okay.
So the way this is going to work, so instead of having a guard, so you can use this knife without a guard, or, let me see, get this correctly. Now that has a guard that gives you a guard for your hand, but as well as if you are going to use this knife to anchor in an emergency situation, you now have something to catch.
Okay, so like you're climbing a boat maybe? Or...
You can, if you're anchoring gear offshore, if you're just wanting something not to move, if you want to anchor something in the wind, you can make sure your gear doesn't move. And the whole theory with the SEALs and the whole theory with a lot of these special forces is you never know what you're going to encounter. So you don't really want real specialized equipment. You want general utility, something that can be used in many different situations that you haven't even fathomed yet.
Yeah.
Because what's the saying that a plan only lasts till you get hit in the face?
Yeah.
You have to be able to respond. So what we've built into, so this wing comes out. There's a little spring-operated pin that holds it in place. you can also turn it around and use it the other way. So it handles both ways.
How about that?
So this is it's a neat opportunity, and it slips into the sheath itself. So it just kind of slides into place. It's held in place by the plastic, as well as the straps.
Man, so the perfect combat dive knife.
Perfect combat dive knife. So we're making 1,000 units this year. MSRP is $900, and we really don't expect them to last very long.
Yeah, well, that's quite the story for a knife. And I mean, I'm kind of a flabby white dude from Utah.
I'm not throwing any stones, baby.
But combat diving is something I'm glad somebody does. And if that's you, check out that new Buckmaster.
Excellent.
All right, well, CJ, thank you so much.
All right.
We'll have Lee on to explain the rest of this stuff, but that's some cool knives.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, CJ. With the magic of editing, I am now talking to Lee, the industrial designer.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing better now that you're here.
Hey.
Sorry, CJ. Love you.
If I had $1 every time someone said that, I'd have 10 cents.
All right, let's talk about some of these new knives.
All right, so continuing on with what CJ was talking about, we'll do our LEs. So for 24, we are doing the 110 this is a 112 TRX titanium. Last year was the 110. Mm-hmm. So we're doing this as a continuation of what we did last year. You know, either someone can have the full set, or some people just prefer the 112 size over the 110. So with this, you're getting blasted titanium handles, bronze PVD fasteners, reversible pocket clip, and S45 VN blade steel.
Super premium.
Super primo.
Yeah. So my understanding is this knife came out sometime in the 1970s, but it has aged like a fine wine.
Absolutely.
It's an older design, but it's still super comfortable in the hand, and with the titanium, the Torx, the CPM S45 VN, it just works. It works as well now as it ever did.
Yep. You know, it's a beautiful collector knife, and it can also be an EDC.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like that a lot.
Well, thank you. Keeping on the 112 train, we're doing another continuation from last year. So in 23, we did a 110 bare head with this scalloped handle. So we decided to give the 112 the same treatment. Drop point blade, bare head handle, or bare head, no rear bolster, scalloped Richlight. This is going to come with a USA-made leather sheath, also S45 VN. I'll let you take a look at that.
Okay.
You would, it fits really nicely in your hand. It looks aggressively scalloped, but softened just enough that it's really
that Richlight comes out nicely.
Sure does.
I know that you guys get a lot of your ebony from Taylor Guitars, but a lot of guitar companies are using, when they can't get ebony, because ebony's hard to get unless you're Taylor, they'll use Richlight for their fingerboards because it has a very similar tactile feel.
Yep.
It's going to be nice on your hand, and I think that it excels well on the knife handle for the same reason.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a lot like ebony, but modern and laminate. Who doesn't love that?
No one I want to be friends with. Following that, we have the 500 Duke. So we're trying to give the Duke a kind of a retro modern look here. So with this, doing that same bare head construction with stainless steel, marbled carbon fiber, the long pull nail notch, as well as the straight clip, and something we've never done on this knife before, a pocket clip. So we get people tell us, you know, I love these old style knives. I don't want to carry a belt sheath, and I don't want it just rattling around in my pocket. So every now and then we listen and we put a pocket clip on it.
Yeah, people do love those pocket clips these days.
Yep.
I'm on team pocket clip as well. If I can have one, I'll take one.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the final of our LEs, the 898. So we're running our 898 deploy, marbled carbon fiber, copper launch button, safety, and spacer. And
those are copper.
That is real copper. That's not coated or plated. That's solid copper. The machine shop hates me for it, but we do something cool every now and then.
It's a limited edition.
Yep. Absolutely. Getting the Cerakoted blade, S45 VN blade steel, and feel the weight of that.
It's like it has a nice weight to it, but it's not overweighted, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, it feels like a buck, because like those, like there's not a 110 or a 112 handy here, where it has the brass on the front and the back. It reminds me of the same way. It's nicely weighted in the hand, but it doesn't feel like a brick in my hand, you know?
Exactly.
I really like that one.
So, moving on to hunting, we have first our Pack Light V-Pack. So this is going to be a 2-pack of our Pack Lights, which we launched last year. You're getting the 635 Field and the 631 Cape.
Field and
Cape. Those are going to come attached with this carrier, and
here, check this out.
if you do want to separate them off, it's very easy to remove this thumb screw and just separate the one knife out. It just goes back in, clicks into place. We have that screw for secondary retention. So that is going to be available in both colors of the 420HC, the black handle and the orange handle, and in the upgraded Pro model with the green micarta and the S35 VN blade steel.
I like the looks of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still like, so Pack Light, it's designed to be a really lightweight knife.
Yep.
But
And
even
Pack-
with two of these, you are still well this side. Like, we're looking at very similar weights to this guy right here. This one is a one knife, but this is two.
Yep.
So it depends on what you're into, but two knives, hard to argue with.
Absolutely, absolutely. Last year we launched the new Alpha series, and this year we're launching two other versions of it. So first and foremost, the Elite. We're launching that with the mid-panel flat grind, Magna Cut, black G10, and a Kydex sheath. One of the main comments we got whenever we showed off the previous Alpha was, I love that leather, it looks awesome, when can I get Kydex? So
Yeah.
the answer is very soon.
Okay. I really, really liked these when they came out. Specifically the little Scout. That was the one, yeah? Scout.
Yep.
I thought this would be the perfect neck knife, and I was one of those guys like, the leather is awesome, but the neck knife Kydex?
Absolutely.
And, man, I'm so excited. And I love me some Magna Cut, and I love these
It's
flat
amazing
grinds.
steel.
Yeah. And these are black G10? you
Yes,
said?
sir. And those are machine textured for a nice sturdy grip, but not so much that it's going to tear up your hand.
Man, now I want to go find some dead animal to cut to pieces.
You know, come up to Idaho, CJ will take you out.
I'll take it. Can I get that in writing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll talk to him in a minute. Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering, this is what the leather sheets were like. So
Yes.
definitely a premium leather.
Made in USA.
I love the smell of leather.
Isn't that nice?
Yep. And they had the wood handles before as well.
So, yep, there's a Richlight and a walnut handle.
Okay. And then we also have the select version, correct?
Yes, so we're also doing a more budget-friendly version. So these are going to move to our 420HC with a hollow grind, a stone wash finish, and a 2-shot injection molded handle. So you get either a gray or an orange plastic, and then a black rubber for extra grip. These are going to come with a nylon sheath with the black leather patch on it, the Buck logo. And we're adding in a gut hook version to the 664. So again, that was a request we got from some people saying, hey, I like it, want a gut hook. And we found that at the higher end, that's not something people are generally after, but on the more price point, it's definitely an added bonus.
Okay. So I do have a question for you.
Okay.
So these ones all have flat grinds, while these ones are hollow. What's the reason for that?
Yeah, so the 420, it doesn't have as good edge retention as the Magna Cut. So the hollow grind is easier to user field sharpen and to keep it sharp frequently that way. Whereas with the Magna Cut, it's a little more work to sharpen. However, you'd have to do it way less frequently. So
Yeah.
this is around the idea that you'll be able to skin several animals before you have to sharpen it, and you can do it from the comfort of your home.
Okay. So I guess that makes a lot of sense to me because the hollow grind, for those of you that don't know, it means that it kind of curves in like this. So there's going to be a section right here that's going to be like the same thickness for a good while. So if you're in the field, it might wear a little bit longer in that way. It's going to sort of extend the life of the grind, so to speak,
Yes,
across multiple sharpenings.
absolutely.
I like that a lot.
All right.
Okay. Well, what's next?
So that'll take us to our EDC. So.
Okay.
We have a couple refreshes and we have a couple new ones to talk about. First, we have in our Deploy series, we have a new blade shape, so a Warncliffe, and that's available in the 839 Mini as well as the full-size 838. So you can see these have a satin finish, whereas the previous ones were Cerakoted. We did some kind of bright Cerakote colors with that, whether it be the Tequila Sunrise Orange or the Northern Lights.
Tequila Sunrise and Northern Lights.
Those are the and those are the colors.
Sounds like very high points of two very different geographic regions.
Absolutely. And this this Northern Lights, the way if you kind of shift that in the light, you can see it goes from blue to green to gold. It's really beautiful.
Look at that.
Especially when you get out in real sunlight.
Kind of the warm luster of an afternoon sun. Here, I'll see if we can catch that on camera. Ooh. All right. Yeah. Okay. And then so we got some blackout models too.
And we also are giving these the blackout treatment like we did last year. So the same knife shape, same Warrenclyffe blade, but all blacked out with a S35 VM blade steel. So
okay.
Giving it that little extra step up.
Yeah, nice premium take on the classic design. Yeah. And I gotta say, the neutral design of this handle just works for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes with autos, people want to go really tactical, and you got finger grooves and hooks and glass breakers and everything. This one keeps it simple, and you can't go wrong with simple. And like what CJ was saying a minute ago, sometimes, especially for our military out there, they see situations that you would never dream of. Everything you can imagine and many things you cannot. And if I'm going there, sign me up for something more neutral in the handle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And then following that, we have a new model. So we're calling this our Trace series. There is the drop point blade for partial serrations. These are aimed a little more EDC, outdoors, hunting, not hunting, but camping, hiking, kind of outside stuff. So you're getting aluminum handles, ball bearing flipper, 7CR blade steel, as well as a removable, reversible pocket clip.
Okay, now, reversible.
Yeah.
That is a very slick action. Nicely tuned detent.
Yes, yes.
And it looks like this model, the Trace, you said?
Yes.
It comes in a bunch of different flavors.
Yes, so there is the drop point partial serration, which is available in 3 colorways. It's also available as a mini, if you want to pick one of those
Really?
up. Now, the mini doesn't have the serrations on it, but it's just a great little smaller knife if you don't want to carry something to that size. You can still get
the 4-finger test.
Now, if you have little hands like me, you could almost get the second hand on there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to get there. Maybe I'll lose a few pounds first. Yep.
And we're also doing what we call the Ops version, which is a little more tactical inspired. So going to kind of a reverse Tonto blade, darker, a little more aggressive colorways to it. You can see this one has black with the red liners. I call this one the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
The black and the red, especially like this dark color of red, it makes me glad I'm not a youngling, if you catch my drift. But man, I love that black and red. And it comes with the mini here as well.
Yes.
Woohoo! As well as several other colorways.
Yes.
Including this, like, I don't know.
Kind of we're calling that an urban camo.
Urban camo. I like sometimes they put too much gray in the urban camos. This one's a very stark black and white.
Yep.
I do like the looks of that.
Thank you.
And of course, the mini
yes.
urban camo Trace. And then lastly, it looks like raw.
Yes.
On the blade at least.
And yes, one of those comes with the raw blade.
And these are aluminum handles, you said?
Yes, sir.
And a nice liner lock.
Yeah.
And a nicely tuned detent. A good snap to it. I like these.
Yeah, I'm excited for these. I think they're going to be popular.
Yeah, and what's the price point on these?
MSRP is $64 on those, so I know that's what we tell you to sell it for, but you guys don't always listen so good.
You're welcome. Wow, what a lineup. And then we got 2 more new models.
2 more. We have our first button lock that's not an auto, so thumb stud to open it, button lock closed. This is also running on bearings, available in a stainless steel or a carbon fiber coated finish with either the satin or you can operate the black finish blade. These do come with a deep carry blade or pocket clip. It is not reversible, but it is removable. And these actually started out as kind of an update to our colleague and Nobleman knives.
Okay.
And we paid a lot of attention to the action on these. And if you look inside, since these are stainless steel handles, we actually milled out some pockets to make it a nice weight.
Yeah, same thing on this one over here. So I am amazed at how fast that thing launches. Like, I thought it was assisted the first time I ran it, but no.
Yeah, a couple people have said that.
I think the secret lies in the placement of the thumb stud. It's at just the right angle so that you build a lot of pressure against the pivot, and then it just launches. It's like a spring.
Absolutely.
Super good. And what's the steel on these?
7CR.
Okay. And pricing?
I believe these are around the same as those. I think around that 64 MSRP.
Okay, I like this one, but I think I'm jiving with this thumb stud.
Yeah.
Thumb hole. Excuse me. Button lock. I can talk. It has been a long day, a long week. But yeah, that action is addictively fidgety.
Right? It's fun. And it's also available in a mini version. So
yeah, here we'll bring those out. Check that out. And that's just the right size.
Yep.
And in classic Buck fashion, a nice deep hollow grind for good slicing and thin edge.
Absolutely.
That's a really good action. All right. That is a lot of knives, Lee.
Yes, yes.
I've been busy.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I think I kept all my information mostly correct,
well,
as
good.
promised by CJ.
And if not, 2025 isn't too far away.
It's never been closer.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lee.
Thank you.
Have a great show.
You as well.
Everybody else, we'll see you on the next one.